Welcome to Whispering Tales, where we unravel captivating stories that will leave you spellbound. Join our community by sharing your own tales at whisperingtalestv@gmail.com, and let's embark on a journey of imagination together. Story 1. Rainy Night at Walmart. Our narrator, a person named Alex, is recounting a peculiar night at Walmart. It was a dark and rainy night, the kind that makes you seek refuge indoors. And so, three friends, Sarah, Jake, and I, found ourselves in the aisles of Walmart. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting eerie shadows on the shelves. We roamed aimlessly, browsing through aisles of everyday items that now seemed strangely out of place. The patter of rain against the roof was our only companion, punctuating the quiet of the empty store. As we moved deeper into the depths of the supercenter, an unsettling feeling washed over us. It was as if the walls themselves were whispering secrets we weren't meant to hear. Sarah, always the adventurous one, suggested we play a game of hide and seek. The thought of chasing each other through these vast aisles seemed to add a much-needed dose of normalcy to our peculiar night. I closed my eyes and counted, while Jake and Sarah scampered off to find their hiding spots. 1, 2, 3. The numbers echoed through the aisles, blending with the rhythmic drumming of the rain outside. 20. Ready or not, here I come. I began my search, the aisles stretching endlessly before me. The empty shelves seemed to loom overhead, casting long, dark shadows. After what felt like an eternity, I found Jake crouched behind a stack of oversized cereal boxes, his eyes wide with anticipation. "Gotcha," I exclaimed, relieved to have found my friend in this maze of products. But when we turned to find Sarah, we were met with silence. "Sarah," Jake called out, his voice tinged with concern. No reply. We called her name louder, our voices bouncing off the walls, but there was no sign of her. Panic began to creep in, mingling with the eerie atmosphere. We rushed through the aisles, searching every nook and cranny. It was as if Sarah had vanished into thin air. Then, just as hope was dwindling, we heard a faint, distant giggle. It echoed through the store, sending shivers down our spines. We followed the sound, our hearts pounding in our chests. It led us to the toy section, where the shelves were lined with dolls and action figures, their plastic eyes seeming to watch our every move. And there, in the midst of it all, stood Sarah. Her back was turned to us, and she seemed to be speaking to someone, though we couldn't see who. "Sarah, who are you talking to?" I stammered, my voice trembling. She turned slowly, her eyes vacant, a sinister smile stretching across her face. "It's time to play forever," she whispered, her voice carrying a chilling edge. Without a second thought, Jake and I turned and ran. We didn't look back, didn't stop until we were outside, the rain soaking us to the bone. To this day, we don't know what happened to Sarah. The memory of that rainy night at Walmart haunts us, a reminder that sometimes even the most ordinary places can hold the darkest secrets. Story 2. The Abandoned Aisle. The clock struck midnight as I entered Walmart, seeking refuge from the pouring rain. The store was eerily quiet, the only sound being the distant hum of refrigeration units. I wandered through the aisles, my footsteps echoing in the empty space. As I turned a corner, I stumbled upon an aisle that seemed different from the rest. It was dimly lit, and the shelves were dusty, holding items long forgotten. Curiosity piqued. I ventured down the narrow passage. The air grew colder, and a shiver ran down my spine. It was as if this aisle existed in a world of its own, untouched by time. I examined the items on the shelves: old toys, faded books, and tattered clothes. It was a forgotten corner of Walmart, a relic of days gone by. As I reached the end of the aisle, something caught my eye. A vintage music box sat on a dusty shelf, its intricate design drawing me in. It seemed out of place, a forgotten treasure in this forgotten aisle. I picked it up, the metal cold against my fingers. With a gentle turn of the key, a haunting melody filled the air. The notes danced around me, weaving a melancholic tune. Lost in the music, I didn't notice the subtle shift in the atmosphere. The shadows seemed to grow darker, and a whispering wind rustled through the forgotten items. And then I heard it. A soft voice, almost a sigh, emanating from the depths of the aisle. It called my name, a ghostly echo that sent chills down my spine. I turned, but there was no one there. Only the shelves of forgotten treasures, each one holding its own silent story. As I tried to make my escape, I felt a presence behind me, a cold breath on the back of my neck. Panic surged through me, and I sprinted down the aisle, the haunting melody of the music box now a frantic backdrop. I emerged into the familiar fluorescent light of the main aisles, my heart pounding. The abandoned aisle seemed to vanish behind me, as if it had never existed. I glanced back, but it was just another aisle, filled with ordinary products. The vintage music box was nowhere to be seen. To this day, I can't shake the feeling of that cold breath on my neck, the haunting melody that still lingers in my ears. The abandoned aisle at Walmart holds secrets I may never understand, a place where time stands still and forgotten memories come to life. Story 3. The Midnight Employee. It was a stormy night when I found myself at Walmart once again, seeking shelter from the relentless rain. The store was unusually quiet, the aisles bathed in an eerie, flickering light. As I wandered through the empty aisles, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. It was as if unseen eyes followed my every move, hiding in the shadows. Suddenly, a soft voice echoed through the silence. "Can I help you find something?" Startled, I turned to find a Walmart employee standing before me. His name tag read David, and his eyes held an odd glint in the dim light. "I'm just browsing, thanks," I replied, trying to mask my unease. David nodded and walked away, disappearing into the labyrinth of aisles. I continued my aimless wandering, but the feeling of being watched lingered. As I turned a corner, I caught a glimpse of David again. He stood at the end of the aisle, his gaze fixed on a display of electronics. It was as if he were frozen in place. "David," I called out, my voice echoing through the empty store. He didn't respond. It was as if he hadn't heard me. I approached cautiously, my footsteps muffled by the linoleum floor. When I reached him, I gently touched his shoulder. He didn't flinch. "David, are you okay?" His eyes were wide, unblinking. He looked past me, as if seeing something I couldn't. Suddenly, he spoke, his voice distant and hollow. "They're coming. They're here." I turned, but there was nothing behind me except the rows of products. The air grew colder, and a chill ran down my spine. Without warning, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the store into darkness. The sound of rain against the roof grew louder, a relentless drumming that seemed to drown out all else. Panic set in, and I fumbled for my phone, using its weak glow to guide me. I called out for David, but there was no response. I stumbled through the aisles, the darkness playing tricks on my mind. It felt as if the aisles stretched endlessly, leading me further into a nightmarish maze. And then, just as suddenly as it had gone dark, the lights flickered back to life. I stood in the same spot, the electronics aisle before me, but David was gone. I searched every corner of the store, but there was no sign of him. It was as if he had vanished without a trace. To this day, I can't forget the haunted look in David's eyes, or the chilling words he spoke. The memory of that stormy night at Walmart lingers, a reminder that even in the most mundane places, there are mysteries that defy explanation. Thank you for listening our horror story. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's embark on a journey of imagination together.